Rebel Yell podcast on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Our little get together here, a little shindig, if you will, presented by Edgar Snyder and Associates. Go local, go with Edgar. Helping injured people since 1982. We thank them for their sponsorship. They will continue past the regular season and once again into the postseason. So again, a big tip of the cap. Tip your cap there, Timmy. Tip it. There you go, to Edgar Snyder and Associates. I don't have a cap, so I couldn't tip it. We are here for our WPIAL Diamond Team of the Week. We're kind of alternating back and forth. 1 week baseball, 1 week softball. This week the focus is on baseball, and what a big week for this young man and his team. Tim Vickers, head coach of the Thomas Jefferson Jaguars, started the week tied for second place with Baldwin, behind Montour. They'll begin next week tied for first place with Baldwin, ahead of Montour after beating the Spartans twice in the Battle of the Black and Gold. Tim, first of all, good to see you. Congratulations once again on your team's success.
Thank you.
So, I mean, not a surprise that you guys are doing well. You guys really have been one of the better teams, one of the top tier teams in the district over the last couple of years. Back in 2024, 4A, you guys won your section, reached the district Final Four. Last year, success again, moving up to 5A, reaching the quarterfinals. So, I mean, are we just continuing to go up? Although there are some new names and new faces that are contributing
now. Continuing to go up. Let's hope. There's definitely new names. There's some returners too, big role players. Right. You have obviously Colin, who had a monster game against Montour on Monday. I believe it was 8 strikeouts. He just competes. You have Justin Fry, the basketball player that we took a while to get back, and for goodness sakes, if they would have gone a little further and he missed the Myrtle trip and just getting ready for our season, that would have been pretty brutal for us. Don Metz is back. Josh Chalmers is back. Eli Graff's back. Alex Janicki is now – he started second last year. He's moved over to short. So we have some guys back, but there's definitely a lot of newcomers too.
You mentioned Justin and had a chance to see him a couple times during that great run by the Jaguars during the basketball season. And I always talk to coaches and players who are making that adjustment from football to basketball, and how long does it take to get into basketball shape? I mean, are we good now with Justin as a late arrival, as you said? But I mean, is he kind of caught up to speed by now, or is it? Do you still see him playing catch up?
I thought he could go from day one. To be honest with you, it was kind of shocking to all of us. Especially that Myrtle trip helps us a ton. We got down there this year, and it was a little bit different than normal. We normally get on and play 3 games, maybe get a scrimmage. This year, we managed to squeeze in 2 practices too. So there's a little bit extra time like that. He came out of the gates hot. He was playing short at that point. We made some adjustments and bounced him back over, and he's a little bit more comfortable with her. And just talking about that kid. I went to a lot of hoop games, and I wasn't at them. I was watching them because those guys were fun.
Yeah.
On your stream, props to you guys. But wow, did he compete for that team this year? Yeah. And I saw a lot of that out of him this week too. Just a competitor. He's not necessarily the most vocal leader on a team. He doesn't have to be. He just goes out there, does his thing, and guys follow.
Before we start getting into the nuts and bolts of what the success in the Montour series and the success overall, if there are, not everybody can do it. I mean, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes fundraising first and foremost to make these trips possible. But you see basketball teams at the beginning of the year will do some traveling, and more, now we're seeing, we have seen, I should say, a lot of teams from the district, whether it be baseball or softball, make those southern trips, whether it's to the Carolinas or all the way down to Florida, to to get some game action in. But that aside, because, we know what March is like around here. If an administrator or a coach is watching this right now, what would you say in trying to sell the benefits of this? Because it's more than just getting on the field. A lot of times talking to the players now, and I get that chance, and it's kind of awesome. You talk about the relationships and the team camaraderie that starts right there and really blossoms by the time they head back north.
Yeah, you can't deny that at all. I think that, while it seems cliche to say that team bonding happens during that trip, it's definitely not. We do something. We changed it a couple of years ago, at least on our end. 5 players in a room. They're big enough rooms. They're not a kid on the floor, but we have something we call team or room captains. So we'll take 2 upperclassmen. They're running their room, and they'll pair them with JV level kids, or younger kids on a varsity team, whatever. So you start seeing interactions between varsity kids, younger kids, and then we go to the team meals, that aspect. Now you're starting to see like maybe rooms sit together versus just the varsity team on one side, because all of that stuff that goes on that trip is the team building aspect. Then we typically have gone down there. It's kind of crazy because we build up to it so much. We use Homer Warehouse over in West Smithfield for live at-bats building, and it leads directly into that trip. So we typically go down there, and we come out swinging the bats pretty hot. So there you got a little bit of confidence. The big negative, crazy part is when you come back if the weather's bad. Now, you just had a great week. Everybody's ready to roll, and you come back and you sit for 10 days. That happened a few years ago. We sat for, I think, 10 days. The first game out of the game was out at Laurel Highlands. That's brutal. I think those trips are absolutely invaluable. I joked when I first came here from Steel Valley. On all my years in Steel Valley, we missed the playoffs twice. Both of those years we went on a southern trip, and I said never do it again. But try telling the boosters over at TJ that I'm not going on that trip. They weren't going to hear that, and it's kind of crazy. My mind's changed dramatically. That I think that trip is real beneficial to start the season, and actually for the kids in general, they love it.
You guys played Baldwin early in the season. Once you guys came back home, split with the Highlanders, and that was the difference coming into this past week, I should say. Montour, perfect, had yet to play both the Jaguars and the Highlanders. A game up on both you guys. You guys both took care of business against everybody else. So obviously a big week going up against Montour. We got to start when talking about this past week with the pitching. And I know that you kind of mentioned Colin Pearson, who got the start on Monday and got the victory Monday. This is a Spartans team that was averaging over 6 runs a game coming into this contest or into this series, the section series. You guys shut them out Monday, and then over Tuesday, Wednesday in game 2, you hold them to 1 run. 1 run in 2 games, phenomenal. Just talk about everybody involved in what was a tremendous pitching week, and also give some love to your defense as well.
That's exactly the way I was going to go. So start off with Monday. Colin goes up against Mateo Weber. That was a matchup. 2 lefties, 2 really competitive kids going at it. They struck out, I think, between the 216 total. So there wasn't a ton of offense. Actually, we were getting no hit until the 6th. In that game, towards the end, a couple major big-time plays were made. Alex Janicki made a play in the hole. It's short and threw a ball across the infield. It was absolutely incredible. So you have that aspect. Now, Noah Sear comes in. You want to talk about pitching. You want to talk about the defense. Go back to pitching, I guess. Noah Sear comes in. Not a ton of innings logged yet, and honestly, it's because guys like Colin and Dom typically go farther in games. Noah comes in and completely shuts the door. It was crazy as that game was going on because we knew Colin was getting close to that pitch count. So we had Dom Metz, Noah Sear, and Cam Kier all warming up nonstop from like the 4th inning on. And once we got that lead in the 6th, we decided to go with Noah, and he was dominant. It was great to see. Move into the Tuesday game. Now, Dom's on the mound. Dom, unfortunately, we had to take him off the mound early due to arm soreness. He's been a workhorse. So immediately we're kind of stuck, and we go to who was that? Oh, we go to Sear again.
Yeah.
Sear came in first, and then that's when, because Noah was only at 23 pitches on Monday. Go to Sear, and that's when the rains, it was like a 7-minute hurricane that came through there.
I sat through it, so I know you're talking.
It was crazy. I mean, you looked at the field like, we're going to play, and then no, we're not. The field was instantly completely underwater. So Sear's done. Their guy being Mike Lavinoff's done. So we're sitting there all day, and you know how that works. Like, we're second guessing who are we going to start on the mound, who are we going to go with. And I thought Josh Chalovich was so incredibly – he's become such a good catcher this year, such a leader for us behind the plate. He was a big part of Monday's win. The running game was non-existent. I mean, he stands up and throws the ball 83 to second base with ease. So he was a potential pitcher in my mind. But, no, I mean, Cam Cure's been dominant. I know it's a big spot, being a freshman on the mound to come in that kind of game, 0-0. But he came in and did his job too.
Wow. Dom, okay going forward?
We hope so.
Ooh,
we're hoping to find out some news this week.
All right. Fingers crossed.
Yes, no doubt. I mean, great kid. I wish the entire program is praying for him and his family right now.
So we get the outstanding pitching by several guys stepping up and getting the job done. The defense that you alluded to. I want you to talk about the alarm clock that you have in the dugout that lets the offense rest and sleep in a little bit until the sixth inning. Then it goes off, and the bats come to life. Talk a little bit about that.
Can't stand that. But I don't know if it's necessarily that. You got to give a ton of credit to those two Montour arms.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both going to Slip Rock. The PSAC's real baseball. Like that's no joke. They came as advertised, and they did their job. And it was a couple timely hits that kind of got sparked both days. On Monday, it was Justin Fry with a single, and everything took off from there. And then on Tuesday, that went into Wednesday, it was the Andy Burnsack hit, the double down the left field line, and everything took off from there.
I mean, for those who don't know, it's kind of wild that scoreless through 5 on Monday. Thomas Jefferson explodes for 5 runs in the 6th inning. And then Wednesday, in the resumption of the suspended game from Tuesday, down 1-0, they explode for 4 runs. So 9 runs total in the 2 games in the 6th inning. The article that will go along with this podcast for our team of the week, I began it by saying that you could say Thomas Jefferson's baseball team had a 6th sense against Montour, because I mean, when I saw the box scores, I was like, wow, that is crazy how both games you explode in the 6th inning. Overall, offensively, you've mentioned some of the names, but still pleased with how the team has played this year from that aspect.
Yeah, we knew that I consider say we had so many returning players coming in this year. There's also a lot of new guys. I mean, we knew it would be a little bit slow to get started. I don't necessarily think we expected to be swinging the bats as well as we did, or we are right now. Our strikeout numbers are not acceptable. We're working on that. But ahead of the game, no, I think we're kind of where we want to be. At this point, we definitely have to get better.
You control your own destiny heading into the final 2 weeks of Section Series action. You have Gateway coming up, and then the following week, McKeesport to close out Section play. So you take care of business no matter what happens with Baldwin, and they still have a Section Series with Montour. You're looking at either winning the section or at least a share of the section title. A good spot to be in the final couple weeks.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you kind of shoot to get to this spot, and Chirp's always done a real good job along with these 2 series coming up. We have a pretty solid competition on our schedule. You have 5A Trinity next week, There's an EF night game over at the new Boston field. I haven't been over those parts in a long time. I'm looking forward to get over there. Then we have Norwin. That we've played them 3 years in a row. That's pretty solid tune-up getting into the playoffs. And then you have Vernon too, and it looks like they're having a pretty good year in 4A.
Well, again, as has been the case, and you guys have been part of it, not all the time, but some of the years, 5A baseball and really 5A anything, basketball, football, come postseason time is really exciting because it's wide open. Might be a little tough on the blood pressure of you coaches, but from a fan's perspective, when you look up and down Section 1 and the teams that will probably come out of that eastern section to make the postseason, the Wild Section 2 that has some of the South Hills teams, and then Section 3 with the northern teams, including top-ranked Pine Richland. The teams that come out of there, they're all pretty balanced. It's we have seen teams that aren't seeded 1, 2, 3, or 4 have long runs in the postseason. Boy, it's going to be a lot of fun in May.
5A is hard, man. I thought 2 years ago in 4A, that was a really, really solid playoff field. I mean, you looking just back at the seeds, I don't remember all of them, but when we got to that North Catholic semifinal game, just those final 4 teams in 4A were legit. But then you look last year, we're in the quarterfinals, coming first out of our section, feeling pretty good about ourselves, and then we get smacked in the face by some solid pitching out of Bethel Park that day. So 5A is really, really tough. You're going to have, I've said this before, like more complete lineups and without a doubt pitching depth. That's where I think the biggest difference between 4 and 5A are.
Sure.
Is the pitching depth is major in 5A. I don't know if we've constantly had that kind of pitching depth. I think this is the first year we've had that since my first year at TJ. Like we have arms, and there's still guys that haven't even thrown yet. Like we were working on with those guys last night. They threw some live at bats in practice.
Section series to me has been awesome for district baseball in that, again, it really does force teams to groom young arms and to not be so reliant on 1 or 2 guys. And I think now that we've been doing this for 3 cycles or around 6 years, I think it has proven out to be the fact. Is the next step, in your opinion, this is just a casual question, but is the next step having some sort of series in the playoffs? I know that you're up against it because you only have a finite amount of time before you have to get to the state playoffs, but it doesn't have to be every round. But is there some way to work it, maybe starting a little earlier in the postseason? So we always seem to have that 1 week where it's a dead week before between the end of the regular season and the start of the postseason. But to somehow incorporate some sort of series, best of 3 series, whether it be first round, semifinals, or championship?
I think it would be a great idea. I don't know how you could possibly do it in the early rounds. And then you can say, okay, the easy solution would be just make the championship. Okay, and then think about the other side of that. That puts 6 classifications, potentially 8 games at Wild Things Park. That's a logistical nightmare.
Right.
But, okay, let's say somehow they can figure that out. I don't know if you just stop the championship game. I think it should be the semifinals and the championship. It's just crazy. I've been on both ends of this. Back in the 14 team that we've talked about in the past, where I had that one arm ready to go in the championship. And that's brutal. I don't know if that's necessary. And when you get into smaller schools, I think that benefit much more whenever you can't discount the one team that has the one arm that's going to win a game because they have the one arm. But at the same time, I think the more complete teams, because this 2-game series thing, I wasn't sure what I thought. And I'm sure you talked to a lot of guys back then. None of us were sure, but I think it's made the game better. Yeah. And I don't know how we go through an entire season that way and then crown a championship based on 1-game playoff.
Yeah.
Or 1 game at a time in the playoffs.
I know the district, the one thing that they've tried to do to sort of incorporate that without actually having a series is, the first round sits by itself. Then the quarterfinals and semifinals are back-to-back days. So the teams, to get to the championship and your ace, they got to at least have a second arm to get through. So that's good.
my opinion is you need 3. You got to think about that. That round 2 and 3, you're most likely, even though you bump the pitch count to 105, you're most likely your game 2 starter. Assumingly you went, it doesn't matter if you went your number 1 or 2 in game 2. Your game 2 starter is probably not finishing it, so you got to have some type of relief there, and then you're moving on to game 3 the next day. That's really, really hard. I have no idea how the smaller schools do it. I have no clue.
Yeah, it's interesting talk. Again, the weather. Although nowadays we're getting more and more of the artificial surfaces around here that could be used in the playoffs. But and again, do you have different sets of rules for the big schools as opposed to the smaller schools? That's probably one of the reasons why it hasn't happened, if it ever will happen. But it is fun to talk about those kind of things. Tim, always a pleasure, my friend. Congratulations on your success this past week, the big section series sweep of Montour. Best of luck to you and the Jaguars over the rest of the regular season and into the playoffs.
Appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you over the next couple of weeks. Maybe see you Monday night at Gateway might not be a terrible time for you guys to come out.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, I'm just plugging for the kids there.
We'll catch your act. Don't worry, we'll catch your act one way or another.
All right, buddy.
All right, Tim Vickers, head coach of the Thomas Jefferson Jaguars. They are our WPIAL Diamond Team of the Week. We thank Coach Vickers. We also thank our good friends at Edgar Steiner and Associates and proud Thomas Jefferson alum Chris Lackner, our producer, as well. I'm Don Rebel. Thank you for joining us. Rebel Yell Podcast, Trib Live, High School Sports Network.
Thanks, Tony.